Imagine you on a 7-day trip to your favorite destination in the Caribbean, like DR, PR, Mexico, Panama, etc. You were out there, and all of a sudden, you were stranded because your airline went out of business. That's exactly what just happened this week. Spirit Airline officially went out of business, and it's messed up. And in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about how they got to that point. Now, with the airline shutting down, obviously, like I said, a lot of people are going to be stranded, and people have to check for alternatives. And it's messed up for passengers. It's also messed up for employees, because now you got about 20,000 people out of work. Now, Spirit has already been in a downward spiral, so that's why for a few years they've been in talks with JetBlue for a potential merger. But the U.S. government shut that idea from ever going forward, which is weird to me because I got in the airline industry in 2008, and years after that, we saw some large mergers. We saw Delta and Northwest, United and Continental, American and US Airways. So we saw that happen, and employees at least had the option to switch sides, right? So with this happening with the Spirit employees, I'm hearing they're not gonna get severance packages or anything like that. They're just out of luck for right now. They gotta find something ASAP. So that's pretty messed up. But just to think that you're on vacation, you're having a good time, and by the time you're ready to come back, you find out that your airline is no longer in business and there's nothing you could do about it. So that's what's going on. So what actually made them go out of business? Now, to my understanding, so Spirit has always marketed themselves as the lowest fare the carrier in America. And with the rising fuel costs, now we feel it as motorists, because a lot of times you put fuel in your vehicle now, you're wondering, yo, is all the gas ending up in the tank, or like what's going on here? Like, but the cost has gotten so out of hand that you really feel it, especially for a person like me who does a lot of driving. You really feel it the most. People that are local and they're going from home to work, and you know, you're gonna be okay. But for me, I drive a lot. Weekly, we could say like 1,000 miles, roughly 900 to 1,000 roughly weekly. So I really feel it the most. And so that's what it is. So they had that issue. Oh, I was gonna say that airlines usually buy large quantities of fuel. You know, we use our fuel, then we go to the gas station when we almost low, but airlines buy large amounts because they can't have the volatility in the market kind of affect them all the time. But it's been happening so much and for a long time that it finally caught up. Never mind all the fighting and all the bad press that Spirit gets, or people showing that a mechanic is using tape on the plane. People kill me with that because it's not regular duct tape. Or airlines use tape like this, but it's funny. But never mind all those things. This is what was the last straw. Now I will say too, Americans, they don't really get the a la carte way that Spirit ran their business. That's a more European thing to understand. What I mean by that is a la carte is pretty much you pay for everything you want and none of what you don't want. So with Spirit, when you pay for your ticket, you know you have a seat. But if you want to choose where you're going to sit, if you want to bring carry-ons, or if you want to check your bags, or if you even want to print your ticket, they charge pretty much for everything. If you want to breathe air on the aircraft, they charge for it. So every single thing you're being charged for, and us Americans don't really get that. But Europeans understand that much better, which is why they have a lot of low-fare airlines in Europe, to say the least. They got Ryanair, they got too many ones to talk about. So U.S. government struck down the JetBlue deal that could have happened, the merger, and this is the end result. What I will say is, Spirit. The reason why Spirit was doing so bad is because with the fuel situation, because that's going up. I guess they didn't want to raise the prices too much because they're the cheapest ones out there. But you kind of got to make adjustments slowly, but make the adjustment. Forget about that title if you want to survive. At that point, there needed to be somebody to come in and turn the whole situation around, invest some money. Look at JetBlue. Most airlines have a first class because the cost of the first class passengers, it kind of helps out with different things, with being able to charge people more. But look at the JetBlue approach. There's no first class, so it's like everybody's on the same level, which they're not, but it gives that illusion. So they needed to find a way to make things up, and even if they couldn't figure it out, the merger should have been there to let JetBlue figure that out for them. So JetBlue would have got their aircraft and their routes, and that would have been all said and done. But this is the way it is. So let me know what you guys think. I know for me, I flown Spirit only once 4 years ago because I had to, and it wasn't the greatest experience in terms of, like, the seat was a bare seat. It was kind of like a public outside chair, and so they needed to invest their money to give a high-end customer experience. That's what I'll say. So let me know what you guys think. Were you a Spirit rider yourself? And who you think is gonna be the cheapest carrier now that Spirit is out of the way? I'll catch you on the next one. I mean, we do have Frontier and Allegiant and a couple other things, but who you think is the next one that's gonna fill the void of Spirit? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.